That's right.
Hey guys, so in today's tutorial I am going to do a basic Hyperion 101 kind of tutorial. First you will need Aurora paint. I have already painted my tumbler. I did a tutorial on prepping the tumblers, and if you're interested you can just click on this link above here, and you will also need Helios glue and also Hyperion. So basically after you have prepped your tumbler, which is sanding it down, you put on your first coat of Aurora paint and then you wait for 30 minutes. If it's too streaky and you're doing a solid tumbler, then you will need a second coat of Aurora paint. If not, and if you are just glittering it and it will be covered anyway, you can proceed with your glitter glue. I am just using a craft sponge brush that I bought at my local craft store, but I think you can buy it on Amazon. But you can also use a normal brush. By the time you guys are watching this, Helios 2 is already in stores. So the difference between Helios glue and Helios 2 is that Helios 2 is like an upgraded version of Helios glue. So I know the glue that I'm using in this video is different. It is the previous version, and the newer and better version is out there for you guys. So you guys just want to apply the Helios glue generously on your tumbler, and I am going to speed up the process a little bit. And then once you're done with applying the Helios glue onto your tumbler, you want to start glittering it. I'm using Purple Rain from Crafty Glitters, and this is a fine cut. So basically, you would want to choose and use your base paint that is closest to the glitter color that you'll be using, so that you get better coverage and that you don't use so much glitter. But if you don't have it, you can always use a white base paint. It works well as well, but the easiest way for beginners to do this is to use the same base paint and match it with your glitter color. Once you're done with glittering your tumbler, you would want to tap off a little bit of the excess and then let it rest for 30 minutes before doing anything else. And then after 30 minutes of drying, this is how it looks like. And I am going to brush off all the excess glitter with a dry fluffy brush. And then you want to gently fluff off all the excess glitter that's on your tumbler. You don't have to worry, Helios glue has really good adhesive power, so your glitters are really going to stick on the tumbler, except for the ones that are not adhered properly onto your tumbler. And then now it's time to seal your glitters. I am using Helios glue again, and I am just going to generously apply it on my tumbler using the sponge brush that I used before that has already been washed. So basically at the end of this sealing process, you will see that your tumbler will turn really white because of the Helios glue. It will dry clear, so you don't have to worry about it looking really weird. I'm fast forwarding this process because I took my time to seal my glitters. After sealing your glitters with Helios glue, wait 30 minutes for the glitter to dry, and this is how it looks like when it's dried. So this is after 30 minutes, and then I'm just going to take a parchment paper and I am going to roll my tumbler so that all my glitters will be flat. This step is really important because it will allow you to get a smoother surface a lot faster. This process is called smooshing the glitters. So basically you really flatten your glitter, and you will want to really take your time to flatten them so that you don't have any glitter bits poking outwards. And this is how it looks like. By the way, Helios glue dries tacky, so if your tumbler right now is feeling a little bit sticky, that is normal. Now the fun part is applying your Hyperion, and you are definitely ready to apply your Hyperion. And this is how it looks like in a bottle. I put it in a small condiment bottle. My condiment bottle is never filled with Hyperion. I always fill it 1/4 full, but you obviously can fill it all the way to the brim if you like it. Always clean up your condiment bottle because there are dry bits at the opening of your condiment bottle. I am going to be applying this in real time. Right after smooshing your glitters, you can apply as much Hyperion as you need. Basically, it's like flat coating your Hyperion, except that you don't really want your Hyperion to be dripping down your tumbler as it spins. Usually the first few coats before your first sand down, you can use as much Hyperion as you like because the glitters will absorb the Hyperion, and thus you probably won't come across any issue. So with Hyperion, you will need 7.5 ml for every 20 ounce tumbler. I personally advise you measure out your Hyperion if you are a beginner so that you get a higher success rate and also lesser issues. And then let it sit for 2 hours, and once 2 hours is up, you put on your second coat of Hyperion. You want to do the same thing, flat coat your tumbler with Hyperion. Make sure it's not dripping off your tumbler. Because I've already do a real time for my first coat, I am just going to speed up the process for my second coat. After 2 hours of drying, I am putting on my third coat of Hyperion. Basically, I do 3 coats of Hyperion before doing my first sand down, so on my third coat, I can put as much coat as I want to. And then after 3 coats of Hyperion, I do my first sand down. I do a rather gentle sand down for my first one, and I'm using 800 grit sandpaper. I purchased this sandpaper on AliExpress in so-called bulk. These are like sandpaper sponges, which is a lot easier to sand down with rather than the normal sandpaper paper kind. I'm just going to fast forward this process because it's just really me sanding. And then I put on my fourth coat of Hyperion after that first sand down. So because this is my fourth coat of Hyperion and I already did my first sand down, this is the part where you follow the 7.5 ml for 20 ounce tumbler rule, which is where you measure out your Hyperion. But I didn't do it in this video because honestly I totally forgotten. It was out of habit that I just like to pour my Hyperion all over my tumbler, and I don't usually measure it, and I forgotten that I was doing a basic tutorial on this. So if you're a beginner, measure out 7.5 ml for every 20 ounce tumbler. I am not using 20 ounce tumbler as well, so you have to measure down if you are using a smaller one, and you have to measure up if you're using a bigger tumbler. And then after 2 hours of drying, you put on your fifth coat of Hyperion. This is my fifth coat of Hyperion. After 2 hours, this is how your tumbler would look like after 5 coats of Hyperion. And this is using fine glitter, so bear that in mind. It does look a little bit textured still. It needs another sand down before it can be smooth. So if you do get this kind of look, don't worry, and you are definitely on the right track. I'm going to do what they call a level sand. This level sand is so that you would want to, well, basically level the tumbler, and if you are sanding it down, you do not want any potholes kind of texture. You want it to be extremely matte. So this is how it looks like after I have fully sanded it down. As you can see, at the bottom of my tumbler is actually a little bit shiny, but it's okay. And also, don't forget to sand down the lid or the rim of your tumbler. For this case, I am using an X-Acto knife to just scrape off the lid, and then after that I will use a sandpaper to sand it down. You want to make sure that your lid is super smooth and has no glitter poking out. At this point, it is extremely smooth as you have just done your level sand, and it is matte and definitely ready for your decal. So in case you guys are wondering, I actually took forever to find a perfect decal for this tumbler, but I honestly couldn't. So I just decided to just take any SVG that I saw, and I decided to use it for this video. I'm just going to speed up this process because it is just me putting on vinyl. After I have placed my vinyl, I usually seal my vinyls because it helps to eliminate any repelling of Hyperion, and I seal my vinyls with Helios glue. I just basically use the tiniest bit of Helios glue and then just spread it on my vinyl. After putting on your Helios glue, let it rest for 30 minutes before putting on your Hyperion. And remember that Helios glue always dries tacky, so try not to touch your vinyl. After half an hour, put on your 6th coat of Hyperion. After 2 hours, put on your 7th coat of Hyperion. Again, use the 7.5 ml per 20 ounce instruction. After 2 coats of Hyperion, you can still feel the vinyl, but it is completely safe to sand down your vinyl so that it will be embedded quicker. I'm also just doing light, really light sanding on the vinyl part. And then as you can see on my tumbler, the rest of my tumbler is shiny except for the vinyl area because that's where I sanded down. I'm just going to put my 8th coat of Hyperion. I used a total of 9 coats of Hyperion. If your vinyl is still not yet fully embedded, just keep on repeating the steps until you are satisfied. This is the result of 9 coats of Hyperion. So that's the end of the tutorial, guys. If you guys are struggling or have any questions related to thumbnail making or this video, feel free to comment in the comment section down below, and I will try my very best to answer all of your questions. Bye!